Welcome to Mishna study, Masechet Demai Perek Mishnah Yud Aleph. Over here, we're really going to, I want to say, almost sum up so much of what we've been saying. And if everything we said until now is clear, this should flow. If not, we'll explain. So we're going to speak about if a person separates Teruma, using from Demai over other Demai, or from Vadai, right? Something for sure wasn't separate Teruma to Masro to cover Demai, vice versa. That's what we're going to speak about over here. So it's two different statuses potentially. Taram mina demai ala demai, mina demai ala vadai, tiruma v'yahzor v'yitro. Mina vadai ala demai tiruma v'lo te'achel ad she'yotzi alea tiruma masrot. So if a person separates tiruma from demai over other demai, or from demai, right, drabanan, over vadai to try to cover something that's deoraita. Right? So again, that's Teruma, right? It's Teruma because we're going to make it count because he called it Teruma, but V'yachzor v'yitrom because it didn't really count. The Rabbanan can't recover it, Deoraita. Now, what about the first case, Demai to cover other Demai? They both did Rabbanan. Why shouldn't that work? So Rambam explains because Demai, in its essence, is a safek. So let's say the first Demai that you used, right? They already did separate Masrot, and you're only doing it midrabanan. And the other demai, no one separated at all, and it was totally Tevel. So you end up using something that was already separated to Masrot to cover something that was never separated. So demai in itself, because it's a safek, right? It's not just a regular dirabanan, right? You have to worry about both sides of the coin. So therefore, you can't use one demai to cover another demai, because the first demai may have been separated to Terumot Masrot, and the second demai may have never separated Terumot Masrot. So therefore, that wouldn't work. And it's just as if the same thing as using demai to cover other vadai. Now, let's say you have vadai and use it to cover a demai. So you have a deorait, something that you for sure need to separate min deoraita, and you use it to cover other demai, which is a safek. Okay, so now it's great. Use the deoraita to cover a safek. Teruma, that should count as teruma. But again, you can't eat that piece of teruma that you used, right? Because maybe, again, there may be a tzad tevel, there may be a little bit part of it deoraita. It could be tevel, and therefore you need to separate terumot and ma'asrot to cover that piece that you gave to the kohen. Right? That sums up this Mishnah. It sums up this perek, right? Which a lot of it spoke about the basic rule of everything needs to be on the same level, right? The same category, the same status in order to separate Terumot and Ma'asrot from one to the next. If they're not the same status, you need to separate Terumot and Ma'asrot from each item, right? Or each pile individually.